channel. I'm MoedotJ and we're locked in. This is episode 2 of Bel-Air. Will is finally getting settled in California. Now, of course, it was a rocky path when he got here. We seen what was going on in Philly. He had to get up out of there. Now he's here. He's settled in and he's getting ready to go to school for the first day. Now, him and Carlton, they got into a little fight at the end of episode 1, and we're going to pick up from that point. Now, before we get into this episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of it, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now, Will Smith, we know he's the freshest Prince of Bel-Air, right? Well, we getting ready to go to school, and we still got to figure out what the family is going to do with this fight and Will and Carlton not seeing eye to eye. So let's jump into it. This is episode 2 of Bel-Air. We start the episode off with the footage of Will whooping on Carlton. I'm talking about Carlton stood no chance. He got hit. Once he seen his white friend get hit, you should have known, hey, get ready. If Will walks up on you, you got to duck. Get them punches in. Will's talking about, Viv, that ain't how it was. I was defending myself. Well, you weren't defending yourself. You got out the pool, punched the guy, and then went over there to him. But you hear Carlton in the back. He's a goddamn thug. She's like, watch your mouth. But all of this started from him. You pushed Will into a damn swimming pool and you knew he couldn't swim. And of course it comes out, Will, it was because of Lisa I survived. And she like, Lisa, the one that my son was dating? You hear Carlton talking about, he was crowding her. Crowding her? Come on, man, they were kissing. You know what I'm saying? That ain't crowding. She invited him into her space. But Viv ain't trying to hear that. Both of you knuckleheads go to your room. Now, Uncle Phil's been working his tail off when it comes to Will. Now he has to deal with Will fighting Connor, and you know, these are some prestigious families, so, and they're not going to press charges, but he has to donate to a hedge fund. And he's trying to tell Viv, with everything that's going on with Will, I'm not trying to mess up the things that I put in all this work for. I worked my ass off to get to this point, to let your nephew come here and mess it all up. With that tape being released of the fight, of course, this could potentially mess up Uncle Phil's campaign. Now, he's saying, I worked too hard for this to mess up my campaign. You hear Aunt Viv saying, wait, your campaign is our campaign. We all signed up for this. I would have said, this house that we in, our campaign ain't paying for it. My salary is paying for it. What I'm making is paying for this spot. It ain't our campaign. It's my campaign. I'm the one that's going to be taking that position. Not us, not the family. I'm doing this. And your nephew, Will, first it was a gun in this fight. Ooh, I would have been upset. You see how big this house is? This ain't no house. This ain't no mansion. This is an estate. Phil and Viv, you know, you got to sacrifice some things. You got to compromise. So they're saying, let's go talk to Will. And if he doesn't give us an answer that both of us like, then he'll be out of here. But let's at least hear the kid out. When they go into Will's room, he's actually crying. You remember his boy Trey back at home? Well, he ended up getting shot. And Will was supposed to go back to try to handle that. But him getting shot is all Will's fault. Because Will wanted to go to the neighborhood and hoop with the knuckleheads. Now the next morning, Carlton comes down because we got to get ready for school. And he's talking about, I was assaulted, people. What are we doing here? Like, Carlton, you started all this. Now you trying to play that role. I was assaulted. He been hanging around them Karens too much. Them Karen and them Chads. Will got the uniform. Of course, you know, the Fresh Prince ain't tucking the shirt in. I think he got some J's on. I can't really see, but my boy ready for the day. Now, we know Hill, she be in the kitchen whipping that thing up. She done made some food for my boy. And everybody's like, oh, the spice is actually good. Now, she has an interview. You remember her mom set it up. And she's saying, you should make something classy for it. She's talking about, Mom, that ain't my brand. My brand is something quick and easy you can make. None of that slaving in the kitchen no more. AKA, throw that shit in the air fryer. Air fryer get everything done. Not them eggs, but everything else will get done. Being the first day of school, Uncle Phil, he knows that Carlton and Will, they had their fight. So he's saying, y'all need to squash whatever y'all got and get reacquainted with each other. Will's saying there's no beef there. And you hear Carlton, he doesn't really want to say it, but he's like, yes, sir. This boy Carlton is something else. Of course, before they leave, there's never any selling anything between Will and Carl. Even from the OG show, we've seen it. They love each other, but they hate each other, if that makes sense. Now, Carlton, he's talking all that smack and he's saying, well, I hope you find your way to school. He grabs his car keys, goes out the door, runs to the car and drives off and leaves Will at the house. Now, Aunt Viv, she pulls Will off to the side because Carlton left. Now she's saying, what are you doing? Like, come on now. that West Philly stuff, you gotta leave that. You gotta acclimatize yourself to what's going on out here. He said, man, I had to do what I had to do. She like pulling a gun on a drug dealer. Come on, Will. Think. Now she gives him car keys. He gets to drive one of the Lexus to school too. So Will, just be you. Give him that West Philly swag. You know, Vim knows how it was. Go out there and be you, but be genuine about it. And you'll be accepted and you'll eventually be running that John. You know what I'm talking about the school people. Will pulls up in the Lexus. He gets to the school. Now he's been trying to reach his boy, but he's not answering. So he leaves him a voicemail and he just tells him, you know what I'm saying, just checking on you, letting you know I'm about to go to school and stuff. And he kind of tries to, you know, make light of the situation. They got me wearing a uniform because he wants to make sure that his boy is all right. I ain't seen nobody this happy to show up on their first day of school. He talking about, ooh, the Louis Vuittons is clean with that fit. What up? He trying to dap people up. They looking at him like, man, who the hell are you? And why do you have this damn Philly hat on the back of your head? Man, if you don't wear that uniform correctly, I would have seen him. I'm like, damn, it must be a new dude. Hey, wait, that's the dude that whooped on Carlton. Once he gets to his classroom, he sits down and no one's in there. He's looking around like, man, what the hell is going on? Where's everybody at? Will leaves his classroom and starts to check the other ones to see where anybody is at. Now, there's no one in any of the classes, but a security guard sees him and he starts having flashbacks of when he got arrested in Philly. Now, the difference between this situation in Philly, you had a gun, you fired off shots. That's why the cops put you against the fence. Here, you belong on campus. All you had to do is tell them, this is the class, I don't know where everybody is at. But instead, Will, he runs. Running from the security officer, he ends up running into the auditorium where we see Carlton giving a speech to the junior class. Now he tells security he's with me. He tells Will to come up here and he's saying, maybe you can help me out, Will. We're looking for a new initiative for the school. Could you tell him a little bit about Philly? Because what Carlton is trying to show is the difference between how prestigious their school is and how a regular public school is. So he comes up with the idea of them basically adopting a lower level school, you know, one of the public schools. Now, what I don't understand is why Will is getting upset with this. Now, the original high school I went to, it was a horrible high school. My junior year and senior year, we moved out to the suburbs. And I was like, okay, this is totally different. But if someone talked about my school and it being underprivileged and not having all the amenities that this school has, I wouldn't have gave a damn. I don't own that school. Yeah, that's where I'm from, but who cares? Now, of course, this is because of the little beef between these two. Will's talking about, man, that's some bull, calling me out, saying where I came from, how my school doesn't have all of this, and you want to sponsor a school out here. Carlton's like, you start with me? This is what you get. Like, man, what kind of beef is this? Now, Uncle Phil, for his campaign, he has an interview with Big Boy on the radio. Now, we know he makes a lot of money. We've seen his house. Y'all seen how he's living? In the words of Will Smith, this house is nice. But he's up here. Now they got people calling in and they're starting to ask him, okay, brother, how much money are you making? How much did your house cost? Because he's not the same as the core audience. He's trying to get that black vote. But you got to understand, 99% of us, we don't live like Uncle Phil. So for us to see Uncle Phil running, it's like, you know what I'm saying? What you going to do for us, brother? Even though it shouldn't be like that. Uncle Phil worked his ass off to get where he is. But you know how our society and community is. Now, Will found his way to something that he's into, and that's the basketball court. Maybe because this is a private school, someone can explain to me because I never went to a private school. But do they have basketball practice midday? We seen Will go to one class, go to the auditorium, and now basketball practice before lunch. I don't know. Maybe it's because I never went to a private school. But he gets here and he's like, hey, I'm Will from Philly. You know what I'm saying? I'm a D1 prospect. And coach is looking at him saying, okay, well, we'll have tryouts. You need to come and do tryouts. Will is saying, me? I need to come to tryouts? Really? Yeah, Will, we need to see what you're about. Are you a team player? Will leaves the gym and he ends up running into Lisa. Now she's saying when her and Carlton broke up, Carlton is obviously the man on the campus because when they broke up, they were saying he was the heartbroken hero and she was the fool. She's not trying to be in a sequel. Now Will's saying, no, it ain't got to be nothing like that between us, Lisa. I'm just wanting you to help clear up that I didn't just start punching Carlton. I didn't accidentally fall in the pool. He pushed me in the pool. And that's why I did that. So he's trying to get Lisa's help because he doesn't know one on campus. Now Will is low-key hating, talking about, man, how was Carlton the coolest brother on campus, man? You know what I'm saying? lacrosse, all this, the president of the junior class in Philly, that wouldn't even come close to being cool. She's like, it's more to that. Carlton knows everybody's name. He remembers their birthday. He smiles. So you got to have that rapport with the people. Will, I ain't know you was a hater, but yeah, you a hater. I like what they doing here with Will though, cause she talking about I can't be late for French class. He said, well, I guess it's all walk then, basically saying bye to her. But I like what they're doing with this. You know what I'm saying? It's got the seriousness in it, but they do bring in some of the comical stuff. Will, you hated on Carlton, man, but the OG Will did too. So we gonna let that slide. It's time for Hilary's interview. Now you remember her mom said make something a little more professional. But she's in there jamming out. She got that music playing. You know what I'm saying? We in there frying up some food. I'm like, okay. Smelling good in here, Hill. Now the two interviewers, they're eating the food and they tearing it up too. Now they're like, ooh, a little spicy. Now the truth comes out. They're saying, oh, we like this. But in order to work with us, maybe not make it as spicy. And wear neutral colors because we don't want the outfit to take away from the food. We want the primary focus to be on the food. Basically what they're saying is our target audience is white. Our audience isn't black people. Now Hill is hearing this and she's saying, what? That ain't right. Like, this is how I cook. Now Will's in his algebra class, algebra 2 at that. And he's like, let me go ahead and take one of those tests. I'm not afraid of it. We seen Will gets good grades. Now, there's a guy named Tyler that shows up and he's late and he's just annoying the teacher. And he tells Will, that's how you get out of it. If you're too annoying, they'll leave you alone. But Will's like, dang, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Will sees somebody that he can actually relate to. And that's because Tyler said, you punched Connor. I've been wanting to do that since the 6th grade. So these two, they have a common thing. Connor, he's annoying. Speaking of Connor, now his parents, they have that pool. He has a restraining order, 10 feet on school campus and 50 everywhere else. And Will's like, bruh, if you don't get this out of here, but that's what they do to you. They talk all that, and then you punch him in the mouth a couple times, they ain't gonna say nothing else. They get that restraining order. Stay back, man. Then Carlton joins in on the nonsense. He talking about, you know what, Will, you got me, man. But it wasn't a fair fight. You caught me slipping. You gotta fight me right now. In front of everybody so they can see it. Carlton, chill, bro. But Will, he's taking the advice from Aunt Viv. And he's saying, if I win, I lose. And if I lose, I lose. So Will makes a smart decision and walks away from this. Now, Carlton was egging him on just because for the simple fact that he's going to either get suspended from school or his parents are going to send him back to Philly. Aunt Viv is talking to Hilary about the interview and how it went. Now she's saying this is an opportunity, a professional opportunity for you to become the biggest culinary influencer. Now, we heard everything that they were saying. They were saying that she got to tone down the clothes. She got to make it less spicy because her target audience is going to be white people. Now, young millennials, they don't understand. You got to conform to the, to the business. Now, fortunate enough for Hilary and everybody else, there's more opportunities. But Aunt Viv is saying, I pulled some strings to get these, I use my connections to get you this interview. And she's trying to tell Hilary, you got to compromise. You got to go up there and negotiate. All right, maybe you can't wear the outfits, but do the food. Or maybe cut back on the food, but have your personality in the outfit. You don't get everything you want. That's just not the way life works. But then Hilary gets a little bit disrespectful, talking about that's probably why you became an art teacher. An art history teacher instead of an actual artist. Like, hey, yo, man, come on now. Your mom tried to help you out. And that's what you're going to do? A low blow like that? Will calls up Jazz because outside of the school, he doesn't have anybody except for Jazz. So they link up and they start hooping a little bit. Now, Jazz is with whatever Will wants to do. He laid back guy, hustler, trying to make it happen. When they start playing one-on-one, he can sense that something is off with Will because he ain't making no shots. He's supposed to be some hot shot, but he's not making no shots. So Will starts to tell him, this is what's really going on myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here in LA. My boy is in Philly. He got shot. All of this started because of me. So it's a lot on his mind. That mental health is something serious. So it's for Will. He just wants to make sure his boy is all right, but he also wants to make the best of the situation he has here because he can't leave at this moment. Aunt Viv gets a call from Will's mom. Now she's hearing about everything going on. And of course she's looking out for her baby. She's talking about, I didn't send him out there to get picked on. And Aunt Viv was like, picked on? No. That's both ways between them two. But I'm going to do what we can to make sure that Will is all right out here. And now Will's mom is talking about he might not just stay down there for like a couple of weeks. He might need to stay past winter break. I would have just said stay for the whole school year. Of course, Uncle Phil can always talk to Geoffrey. Geoffrey is his guy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he works for Uncle Phil, but he's going to keep it real. You never seen Geoffrey BS Uncle Phil unless he's cracking jokes on him. But he wants to know what they should do about Will, and he's saying it's a culture shock. It's a difference for him. We can't just judge Will off of the first 2 or 3 days that he's here. We got to give him some time to really get adjusted. Uncle Phil takes his advice. Now Will is outside shooting around, missing all kinds of shots. Uncle Phil comes out and he's hitting some. And he's saying that I put this goal out here for Carlton. But Carlton fell in love with lacrosse and other things. So Uncle Phil is showing him, hey, just because I'm successful now, I came from the same stuff you came from. You remember the OG Uncle Phil was in there shooting pool. So, hey, I can get out here and do a little bit of gambling and all that. But this Uncle Phil, he's showing them like, hey, look, I understand where you're coming from. I want to give you the opportunity for that second chance. This is the first time that these two actually have a real conversation. Will is telling his Uncle Phil, when I got arrested, I knew any sudden movements could have potentially been the end of my life. So there's a lot of stress and things that Will has going on. And then moving out here, being away from everyone he knows and having to basically start all over, it's tough. Now, Uncle Phil is listening to this and he's actually, lending that ear that Will needs because he never really spoke about this to anybody. And one thing we know about Uncle Phil is he wants the best for everybody. He's hard on you, but that's just the way he is. Now he's saying, I know that we can never give up. Do you give up on the basketball court? And Will's like, nah, I don't. And he's saying that's how you need to treat life, like the basketball court. You got to enjoy it. You got to make the best of it. You never give up and you never quit. Now he's also helping Will on that broke ass jump shot. So he's like, all right, here you go. You know what I'm saying? Conversation rules the nation. You can usually talk through anything. But of course you got Hayden Carlton back here watching. And now what's he thinking? My dad loves Will more than me? No, he's just helping out Will because he never had this opportunity. Will finally FaceTimes Trey. Now Trey's looking at it like unknown number. That's because Will got everything new out here. And he's talking to his boy and he's like, oh man, okay, I see you. Now Trey's making light of the situation also. He's up in the house. Of course, Rashad and them still looking for Will. But he makes a little joke about his shoulder. Like, yeah, this here, it's just a little flesh wound. Nothing too serious. But that's what you got to do in this. You got to look at the positive. And the positive is you living. Yeah, you got shot. I don't know if your basketball career was going anywhere, but hey, you're living. That's the best thing. We know Carlton, he hits the little Xanax a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So he gets to school and he's talking to Lisa. And she's like, wait a minute. All that BS you doing, you need to get all your friends off of Will. Get off his back and don't treat him that bad. But then she like wipes his nose and says, you got a little bit up there? He talking about, yeah, man, it's just stressful. Nah, you need to put that stuff down, Carlton. Carlton, he upset. His dad was out there hooping with Will last night. The girl he used to love, she's into Will now. And she's like, hey, you need to get away from Connor and get some help. Come on, Carlton. You living a good life, man. Get on the right track. Treat Will with some respect. Now it's the next day. Will got tryouts to be on the basketball team. And he's talking to his boy Tyler because they get along. They both dislike Connor. And he's asking him, what can I do to make the basketball team? And he's saying, hey, be a team player. Sprint back on defense. After you score, do not showboat. I'm talking about, you remember on Love and Basketball, she hit that 3 and she was holding it up? Yeah, none of that. Get back on defense. What does Hilary do? Yeah, she was offered a high profile job, but she got to let her Instagram followers know, look, they offered me a job, but trust me, y'all, they wanted me to tone down my clothing, make my food less spicy. Like, what? Well, come on now. So any of y'all reading that magazine or whatever it is, don't. They don't like black people. Basically, you're not their target audience. Will shows up for tryouts. When he gets there, they don't even have a practice jersey for him or nothing. They said, you're going to try out in your regular shirt. Now, the coach is watching. Will, he got the information from Tyler. Don't showboat. But when he starts off, he's missing a couple of shots. You got to get that rhythm down. They just went in there, no stretching, no warm-up shots. They just threw Will in there for tryouts. I'm talking about Will. He ain't doing no showboating. He getting turnovers. I'm looking at him like, ooh, Will. You playing like Trey right now. This ain't Will from West Philly. Coach, get him out of here. Get him out of here. I'm not that good at basketball, but I'm looking at this. I'm like, yeah, coach, don't even put him on the team. But Will has a flashback when he hit that jumper to win the game. And Tyler just dapped him up and told him, you got it. So Will's getting that swagger back. You heard Aunt Viv tell him, impress them with that swagger from West Philly. Be that, Will, and you can run the school. Well, that was a good 180. Turned around, Will out there hitting jumpers, and he ends up making a team. Coach talking about go celebrate. Now the team is looking like, man, we needed you. We ain't got no brothers. Well, we got this one guy back here, but he ain't good. He's about as good as your cousin. Ain't you Carlton's cousin? Of course, Carlton is going to be hating. So he's in the little ice tub, back in the PT room. He's like, who did you lie to? How did you get back here? This is only for athletes. And Will's like, oh yeah, I play basketball now. So Carlton, he always hating. It don't matter. And Will's just saying, hey, I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing off. People are seeing me for what I am. Now, this little rivalry between these cousins is starting to heat up because Carlton, he got mad, got up out the ice. Will said, you know what? I'm about to take over this school. I'm going to take all the girls. So be on the lookout. I'm about to take over. When Will is leaving basketball practice, the same security guard comes over to him and says, Will, can I check your bag? And Will's thinking, oh, here we go again. But he's like, all right, man, check my bag. I don't have anything. Now, when they go in his bag, they actually find a little bag of drugs. And of course, we know it isn't Will's. He's like, what is that? That ain't mine. But the security guard, he don't care, and he's taking Will on in. Well, it turns out Connor is the one that put it in the bag. And you hear him tell Carlton, man, I handled him. And Carlton's looking. Now he's starting to see what Will is talking about these foods. There you go, episode 2 of Bel-Air. Let me know what you guys think. How is Carlton going to react to knowing that his friend Connor, his BFF, set up his cousin? Now, I know they have their differences, but still, you got my cousin in trouble. Like, that's just taking it too far. Let me know what you guys think. I'm MoedotJ. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.